It's a real pleasure for me to talk about J.D. Erwin. J.D. is somebody I have a tremendous amount of admiration for. I got to know J.D. when he came on our College Foundation board, and he was a great board member. He served as the president 2 different times, and he chaired almost every committee on the board. J.D. is a self-made man, and even though he didn't have an opportunity to get an education because he had to quit school to support his mom and his family, he understands the value as a businessman, and he was such a good donor and an investor in our college, as well as someone who persuaded other people to be donors. I just have tremendous admiration for J.D. because of his life story and because of his work ethic, because of his personality.
Mass merchandisers, 40 years ago, I got the opportunity to work for J.D. And J.D. was the sales manager at that time, but regardless, everybody worked for J.D. The president of the company would report to J.D. Even the people that owned the company up in Minneapolis would report to J.D. After they changed to McKesson, J.D. flew out to San Francisco, and guess what? McKesson reported to J.D. You know, we played hard and we worked hard, and it was just great times at Mass Merchandisers with JD and all the others.
I've known JD about all of my life. I say all of my life because JD is a little older than I am. I'll pay for that one, I'm sure. But I remember him even when he was peddling Pepsi-Cola in town. That's the way he got his start. And I've known him back to those days, which is a long time.
I first met JD in 1989 when I came to work for Sharing Care. About 2 weeks after I'd been there, JD was talking in the store with Janet, and I just met him sort of in passing. He was the director of the board at the time, and I was impressed because he was just telling story after story, talking to Janet about something. I didn't have enough nerve to get in on it yet, but I did. I got in on his stories later.
JD is a giver beyond belief. JD's been fortunate and made a lot of money and given away a lot of money. JD will help you if he's able.
Probably his compassion and sincerity.
He doesn't give up, and he is a fighter. I really admire his humor and his storytelling. I think, if anything, that attracts me to him the most because he has a really fun personality. He does push, he does motivate, but those are all good things. I wouldn't have continued doing most of what I do if JD hadn't been pushing somewhere in the background.
One thing was with Shared Care with JD. He knew that I was interested in doing other things, helping with food distribution and that sort of thing, just a regular old task at Shared Care. So he contacted me and said, Jerry, I want you on my team. I said, well, JD, that sounds wonderful. I know some people work for you. That'll be great. And he said, well, it's the best day of the week to work at Shared Care. And I said, why is that? He said, well, we work on Monday, and most all of the national holidays are on Monday, and we don't have to work. So I said, sounds good to me.
One that I can think of is that JD and Jerry used to play golf a lot with Dr. Jeff Olson and me. In fact, we played maybe once or twice a week for a couple of years whenever we could get off to play. And Jeff and I always won those matches except one time. Somehow, JD and Jerry beat us one time, and maybe it was a coincidence, but that's the last time we played. They wouldn't play with us anymore. So I want JD and Jerry to know that Jeff Olson's down there in Waco, Texas, practicing on his golf game. He made a hole-in-one last year. I'm up here playing with the senior golfers, and we're ready for a rematch.
You know, I don't think there's one funny story. There's so many. I don't know hardly a day goes by in our building that somebody, even though he has not been in the best of health recently, and he hasn't been able to come and volunteer regularly, there is something about JD that's just in our building. A day doesn't go by that the guys don't say something about JD while they're having coffee or tell some little tale that cracks us all up somehow. I don't honestly think there's just one story, so I'm hard pressed on that one.
He not only helped with his resources in this community for years and years, but he put himself into these tasks, and I think it made a tremendous difference. There's nobody, in my opinion, that's had a bigger impact on our college and our community.
He has had a tremendous impact from, he has done so much that people don't know about. And I know that's very hard to believe, but all of the youth center out there, he got that taken care of. He used to get a lot of stuff for the North Ark Foundation just by asking the owners of mass merchandisers to give, and they would give. Anytime JD wanted to contribute to something, the owners of the companies would participate, and I'm talking about big, big dollars. So he has impacted the community in so many ways.
To the community, he's such a big part of the community, he and Judy both. He's selfless in that he has belonged to several clubs and volunteered at several places and has helped so many causes monetarily. He's set up scholarships at the college. Together, he and Judy are just kind of, in my opinion, are just part of Harrison. They've always been there, and they've always had a presence in everything that happens.
JD, I'm really proud of you. No one in this community deserves this award more than you do. You're a role model. You're someone who's been an inspiration to me. Congratulations.
Being raised out in the country with my mother, she was a giver. She gave back to the neighbors, the church, and everyone that ever needed anything. And that knowledge, it taught me to always want to do that. So that's why I volunteer a lot, serve on different boards of volunteer places, and try to help others that might need help. And that's part of my religion and part of my joy in life. A lot of people are always asking me, a lot of people know that I'm the youngest of 12 children. There were 6 girls and 6 boys. And when the day that I was born, just a few months after I was born, our dad just walked off and left us. Around 6 of us kids didn't have a dad ever at home. Some of our brothers and sisters had already married and moved on. But we had a tremendous jolt in our life without a dad and no income. So all of our lives, our brothers and sisters, we had to work. And we learned working from age 4 to however late it was when we left home. But we had a good life in spite of all that. We had togetherness. We had our church just up the road that we walked to, and we never missed a sermon. In spite of all those struggles and hardships, we had a great, great life together. I think it was our mother's influence in our church and our neighbors and our ability to work and help others was the cause of that. I'd like to thank all those responsible for thinking of me when they were thinking about this reward. I'm very happy about that, very proud. I'm happy with my life here in Harrison and all the things that I've had the opportunity to participate in and help with, hopefully. and it means a lot to me. I want to thank everyone responsible for my having that success, and I hope that after this visit tonight, you know me better and know why I do the things I do to help others.